You know, you talked about how diverse the city is, but unfortunately, when we look at local levels of government, I'm from an area that's just outside of Toronto called Mississauga, and very racially diverse, in fact, more racially diverse than not. And it has one person of color on its city council. Here in Toronto, we have one woman of color on our city council. A place that's supposed to be a beacon of diversity and pluralism, and yet it's not represented on the local level. What's missing?
Well, when I was first elected, that issue really spoke to me. And this is back in 2013, and I tabled a private member's bill on ranked ballot to diversify how we elected the mayor and council so that we can have an opportunity for people who are not incumbent to run and have voice and be elected in local democracy. And it's so very, very important. And I think it's something that we still need to work on.
Just to add on that point, though, because, you know, that was the case in Brampton until our last election, where we now have 4 people of color a part of council, which is historic for a city. And I think
it's a city that's so diverse.
And it makes sense, though. And it makes sense now. They have 4 people from different cultures and communities being represented on council. And I think what happens, you know, I ran in the past municipally. And what happens is that municipally, there's a lot more, the strength of like being an institutional name is much more magnified. And what it does is it makes it actually hard for new people to come in, and people from different backgrounds, if you don't have that same name or that same background that you're coming from. So it's an upwards battle from the get-go. So kudos to those who can break through, but more so there is something wrong in a system that makes it so hard for people from different backgrounds to succeed.
So what do we do? I mean, how do we get these? And actually, if you don't mind, Stan, I'd like to ask you, and then we'll go this way. But I mean, I'm not going to lie. Even I've been approached, and I don't know if I would ever want to put it all out there. It's not easy. I mean, being on television is one thing, but running for politics is something very different.
So I mean, some aspects of my colleagues' comments I agree with. I might disagree a little bit with the process of how we get there. I think the end goal is the same in what we want. We obviously want a diverse, you know, legislature. What I think is happening out there, I mean, I can only speak from my background, is I believe Korean Canadians get heavily involved in the church. I mean, there's per capita probably the most churches out there for our community. I think it's about being better represented, having your pioneers lead the way so that you can lead by example. And I firmly believe in the saying, as cliche as it might sound, be the change you want to see. And I think that, you know, and I'm happy to say Raymond Cho was the first Korean Canadian to be elected to any level of government here in Ontario. I'm the first Canadian-born Korean, and I get letters and emails all the time from Koreans in BC, in Korea, who say they're very proud, and it's inspiring them. And I think that's how we can lead the next generation, is to make those bold moves and to have people follow in your footsteps by example.
Mitzie, you worked in this space a lot. You worked for Civic Action, an organization that really promotes this type of stuff. What is missing? Why aren't more people of color running?
Yeah, and I was going to say that as well, that in addition to the electoral systems, we also have to support those who put their hands up and say they're going to run for elected office. So Civic Action has the Diversity Fellows program, which really exposes people from broad backgrounds to all levels of government and power, frankly. Getting them in that room where those decisions are being made is really important. There are organizations that are forming, like the Canadian Muslim Vote, Operation Black Vote, that are working with local communities to say, hey, politics is not a bad and scary place. It's actually a place that you can become involved, whether it's as volunteers, knocking on doors, or in the policy strategy area, or yes, putting your name on a ballot and actually running for a different level of office. That's something that is really important to make sure that we have the support for individuals who do put up their hand and say that they want to become involved and that they do want to run for office.
We have to wrap up, but I really want to end this with each of you giving me a sentence to somebody who's watching us right now, who's maybe younger, watching you and thinking, you know, I might run, this is maybe inspiring me. What would you want to say to them?
You know, I think to my parents, they're the story of what led me to politics. My dad couldn't get a job, he couldn't speak English, didn't understand the culture, so he ended up selling earthworms as fishing bait. From there, he bought a convenience store, he went into real estate and created a very successful business. This is a country, this is a province where you can go from selling earthworms to owning a successful business. Sky's the limit. I never thought I'd lead to politics. Just do it. Put your name in the ring.
Mitzie.
If you can see me, you can be me. And for young people out there who are watching, they need to know that you just have to work hard. Understand that there is a calling on your life. There's something that you want to be. There's a contribution you want to make. There's a goal that you have that's inside of you. Work hard, be relentless and pursue that. And don't be afraid to be the first and to step out, because there's a reason that you're called to do that.
If you can see me, you can be me. I am stealing that from you. I love it. That's fantastic. Go ahead.
So my mom has always taught my brother and I that we're all one, that we're all connected, that we're all part of something greater than ourselves. And if we do truly believe that we're all one, that means the pain someone else feels is pain that we feel. And when I look at this world right now, when I look at this province, there's a lot of injustice. And we must understand that we have a duty as humans to fight for a better world. And this should be inspired by this idea that we're all one, that we're all connected. And I don't think the world can afford to not have amazing politicians and amazing leaders. It can't afford at this moment to have people who are not going to fight against some of the drastic issues we're facing, like climate change, like affordability, like inequity. And so I really think that it's something that we have to understand the power the government can hold, and that to those young people watching, you can be a part of that movement to make a more equitable and more just world.